Boom.
We're
Episode
live.
number 6. Co-host today is Artem. He's
Not
usually
Nas.
behind the camera, but now he's in front.
Yeah, Nas is behind the camera now.
Nas,
he's there working.
Nas, we buried him under the camera.
Yeah, he's gone.
That's it, for leaving the camera on for a week. I can't wait
sure
for
he'll
Nas to see this. He's going to get, oh, why'd you guys talk about me?
He's gonna come back next week with some trash talk.
Episode 6, guys. We're going to talk about what's coming up. What is coming first before we even get started about anything mixed martial arts related. Horrible thing that happened in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I watched the news last night, and they still didn't have any motives. Did you hear anything?
No,
new?
I haven't at all. And it's like he wasn't like on social media. He didn't really have. It's really tough to find out why he did this. And
Right.
I haven't heard about it since it happened. I woke up and I saw people like pray for Las Vegas, and I was like, what the hell happened? And it was bad. Like you think like a few people, but this was a lot.
Like
500 people.
60
500
people
plus.
killed?
Yeah, and then 500 plus injured.
I don't know the exact number, but it was a high number.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
This guy was spraying at a stadium.
Yeah, and from a Vegas hotel, I'm surprised they had windows.
Not just Vegas hotel, Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
It does have windows. What you're saying is they don't open, right?
Yeah. So
they
he
don't
shot through
open.
them?
What?
He shot through it.
He broke it somehow. He probably shot or whatever he did. He broke it. They say he was even on like a crate or something to get a higher angle.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is some planning, and the guy is he's like some guy who worked for what was the company that he worked? Anyway, he's a regular dude.
Yeah.
He's not even like, you know, he has no connections to any sort of terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that he has no connections. He's not a candidate for any sort of terrorist organization, you know?
Yeah.
He's just a regular guy who grew up here in America. He's an American. I don't know what his motive was, but we got to find out. They did mention something about Philippines, and our heart goes out to all those people. I mean,
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, I have kids, and you don't, but, I mean, sending your kids out to a concert and not coming back.
Yeah, I know. It's similar to the Ariana Grande concert
Yeah.
where it blew up. Like these are fun occasions that people are excited about, and now we have to be careful. We have to think about that.
Right.
Now, like if I go to this event, I'm sure everyone has that little percent of their brain thinking like, I hope nothing goes wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just terrible to think that way. We shouldn't let these things stop us from having fun and going to these events, but it's unfortunate that it has to be in our mind a little bit.
Now, if this was terrorist related, we kind of revert to our conversation last week with EJ.
Yeah.
And look, you may track a whole bunch of people who are suspects for terrorism, but a guy like this, how do you track a guy like this?
Yeah. To get into the hotel with all that. But I guess they don't really do random searches when you're getting into the hotel.
No. I mean, and, you know, he's a guy who worked for a regular company. You know, he made some money. He's educated. You know, just a regular white American guy. I think. I mean, I don't know the full details, but that's...
Yeah. You never know what could have happened. Like, he has a change of heart. Something got to him that just made him snap. But, yeah. Real piece of shit.
Real piece of shit. It's funny why he chose the concert. It could have been anything. It could have been a Metallica concert. But
It was like a country music concert. Yeah. I don't know if you know who Dan Bilzerian is on Instagram, but he's like this really famous Instagram guy, and he was posting his story at the concert before it happened.
Right.
And it's like it's the normal concert video. He's like behind the scenes backstage. And then you click on it and you go to the next one and he's running. He's like, holy shit, I just saw people shot. And it's like crazy to see the difference of like people just having fun.
Right.
And then running away from the scene. People
Right.
just got shot.
From what I understand, I think the singer, he ran to the microphone and said, run, before he ran for cover. So
Yeah. Because I'm sure people don't know what's going on.
That's
'cause
some
it's so
balls.
loud. Yeah, that's absolutely.
you know, some people would be like, I'm out of here. You know,
Yeah.
he actually ran to the microphone, told people, because you can imagine it's loud in there.
Yeah.
The
Like, people in
noises
one
you're
section
hearing
don't
could
know
be
what's
anything.
going on.
It
Exactly.
could be a speaker popping, right? You
Mm-hmm.
never know what it is, so you're kind of like confused and discombobulated, and then. But it's actually gunshots. I guess since he had the view of the crowd, he could see that people were going down.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, that's the last thing you think you're gonna see.
Now,
Performing.
since we're going to go on to the UFC, I think you mentioned to me earlier, Dana White donated $1 million.
Yeah, because I guess the UFC, like Las Vegas, is like their home field.
Right.
Like like a football team, like they have home field advantage. Like UFC athletes and their company, Las Vegas is their home, so
It is.
it's really close to them. Like Joe Rogan is giving all the proceeds to his comedy shows to Las Vegas,
Right.
and a lot of people are donating.
I love Joe Rogan.
Me too. I'm going to see him in November. Me and Nas actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to MSG,
Mm-hmm.
and every event he goes to, he'll do like a show there. So
Right.
we're going to see him.
I have to sit and watch one of his comedies. I never really watched his comedy. I like him
His
as
new
an
stuff is good.
intellectual. That's how I like
Yeah,
him.
okay, yeah.
He's one of those people that I like to listen to when he speaks.
Yeah.
He's really insightful, and he knows a lot about a lot of things.
Because of all his guests are so like all over the place, and he's also not biased. He doesn't have one view that he sticks on.
Right.
On some stuff he does, but he's always open minded, which is why I think his podcast
Yeah,
is so
sometimes
successful.
you'll see some shows come up, like bits of his show, and it's old, like maybe 5 to 7 years old or something.
Yeah.
And you'll see that he's speaking differently, and he's
Yeah.
he's behaving differently. And today he's like this, super, I guess, Renaissance man
Exactly. People
who
are interested
knows
in his
everything
thing.
and understands everything. Maybe he's not an expert at everything, but he has a really good understanding, and he has a really good vocal crunch on things too, where he understands the terminology of these things. Not just, I hear it's this dude and he does something like
Yeah.
this. He really knows the depth of it, and right now he's getting like some amazing guests on.
Yeah.
Mayweather should donate something. He
Yeah,
just
I heard
spent
that.
he just spent $300K on his new girlfriend or for something. I don't know. I saw some post. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that, but I've seen people commenting, like, since he's a Vegas guy as well. But you can't, like, force someone to donate. It's got to be something they want to do.
No,
But
obviously, but
obviously he does have
should.
the paper to do it.
He does have the paper. He just made a lot of paper right
yeah,
now.
a lot.
He's already had a lot of paper, but he could spare something, And all those watching, if you can do anything to help, it would be a great thing. Let's talk about Ferguson, Kevin Lee.
Yeah, some fights. We'll pull up the card right now.
All right, pull it up.
feels like there hasn't been a UFC pay-per-view in a while. So I'm excited about this one.
First, let's start off with this. When Lee won his last fight against Chiesa,
Yeah.
he was interviewed by Fox, right? And Fox is always they got their guys, Florian.
DC.
Yeah, they got their
Bisping,
guys, Bisping. But they also brought on Ferguson that evening for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intelligently done like so.
I'm sure
Or,
they had a little plan.
Yeah. But he was there. He was interviewing. And he was being cordial. And he was being professional. And he asked some question. And in that question, he called the guillotine grab a DDT.
Okay. The wrestling move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ferguson, Lee is like, what? He's like, DDT? I think that's like a WWE move or something like that. He's like, I know jiu-jitsu, I know wrestling. He's like, can someone bring on like a real commentator? He's trying to get under the skin of Ferguson. And, he's doing it pretty intelligently. In my eyes, he's calling out Habib Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
But really, he's calling out Ferguson. He's trying to make Ferguson feel like he's nothing.
Yeah.
He wants
irritated.
he wants the guy who he really thinks is awesome.
Yeah.
You know? But really, he wants Ferguson. But he baited Ferguson in and got him upset. And Ferguson gave him some words. You know, he's like, if you try to fight the top 5, you're not going to do so well. He's like, you have to earn yourself a title fight. I mean, a shot at someone like me. He's like, you've done nothing. You've achieved nothing, really. And he's like, you're doing well, and you'll keep climbing, and you have a good future. He's trying to keep it professional, but at the same time, he's kind of like telling him, you're not ready, kid. And
Yeah.
he's 24.
Super young. Yeah.
24 is really young.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time to grow. Even if he doesn't win this fight, he could very well win this fight. But even if he doesn't, he's going to be fighting for top 5 for a while.
I mean, to be 24 and top 10, that's
Yeah.
intense.
Absolutely. Especially in the lightweight division, toughest division in the UFC.
You think he has a shot against I don't think so, but what do you think?
It's going to be tough. I really don't see him finishing, like knocking out Ferguson,
Right.
submitting him. He's good at getting the back, but Tony is a guy is really good at taking the back as well. And when you're good at getting a submission, you're probably good at getting out of that same submission because you know the mechanics of it. So
In some cases,
you would say, like, if a person is an expert at getting a submission, that
not always an expert at getting
out of it.
Yeah, we spoke about that, I think, in our first show. There are some people, like wrestling-based people, they're always practicing the dominant version of things,
Okay, yeah.
but they're not practicing the submissive version of things.
Like jiu-jitsu people will do that, like self-defense.
Yeah.
But wrestlers, like if they're on their back, they don't know what to do.
The thing about jiu-jitsu is you can't learn everything at once. That's why it takes 10 years to get a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep going to the classes, you'll eventually come across the class where your professor is teaching how to break out of things,
Mm-hmm.
how to get out of things better. But, when you lock that body triangle on, it's tough. You got to know the mechanics. And a lot of people don't know the mechanics of how to, work with the body triangle, how to turn that into a submission, and they're not doing it. I don't know why. Do they not know it, or are they just not thinking of it? Are they too worried? Because it is MMA, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
The guy could let go of your neck and just start hooking you in the head,
Yeah, exactly.
Everything
Elbows, all that stuff. But back to the fight, I just don't see a way he could finish Ferguson, and I don't think this is gonna go to the scorecards either. I just think Tony is way better at scrambles, doing weird stuff that Kevin Lee hasn't seen before.
Right.
At such a young age, he hasn't seen this stuff.
Right.
And Tony's doing things that nobody does. Like, he's doing cartwheels to defend takedowns. He's doing somersaults.
Right. He's the new breed of jiu-jitsu.
Exactly. He's mixing things up, wrestling, and then 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu with Eddie Bravo. He's doing, and
Is he
the way
10th Planet?
He trains with Eddie Bravo, yeah.
He does?
Mhm.
Okay.
The way he snatches on those Darce chokes, the way he snaps people down.
Yeah.
I think that's what his DDT is, technically.
He's
I'm gonna put that on.
I mean, I've seen him train jiu-jitsu, and he looks like he knows what he's doing. And if it's 10 Planet, then he definitely, if Bravo's working with him, he's got that futuristic style, that somersaulty, spinning, rolling, taking back from weird position sort of style. And it's really effective. I remember someone asking me about taking the back from that position, from the half guard. Like if you put your knee in a certain place and you roll, you can take the guy along for a ride and end up, taking his back with a roll. And I say, hey, it works. And I've seen it work at professional level. But
you're talking about when you're on top in half guard?
Yeah.
And then you kind of like somersault and the guy comes with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that before too. You have to kind of hook the leg in a certain
it's
way.
pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
All you got to do is roll. It's just you got to have your knee in the right position, your hips in the right position to get it. But, I said, it's not something I prefer. It's good to know. It's not something I prefer because all you have to do is just open your leg.
and then he can't. Do
Yeah,
it.
he's just like, don't hold on to his leg so tight.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's pretty simple to stop those things. But then when you got someone locked up on your leg really tight and he's trying to make sure you're not getting that point by passing his half guard,
Yeah.
he's holding on pretty tight and you can catch him in that second.
It's
But
the
when
surprise factor too.
Yeah.
Because you don't expect guys to do it, but Tony Ferguson is the guy who will do it.
Right.
So it's that surprise factor that makes it successful.
I think that surprise factor will go away pretty soon. People, people will be aware of these sort of
It's
things.
Evolution, you have
Yeah.
to evolve. Like something will be successful for a good amount of time, but then people will start realizing like, all right, we have to figure out a defense for it, and then it'll be totally unsuccessful. And then something new will come up,
Yeah.
So that's why you have to keep evolving.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about jiu-jitsu now. It's like so many great things are coming up and there's so many cool, moves are coming up. And some things are like, oh, why didn't I think of that? And some things are like, oh, you gotta be a rubber man to even get these moves, Some of these things that 10th Planet is coming up with, it's like your body's got to move in ways that,
Yeah.
I was teaching yesterday. Peruvian necktie,
Okay.
and Levon can't do it.
He can't get his leg over?
He can't get his leg over.
Okay.
And he is elastic. He can stretch his legs this way, and he can stretch his legs this way. But for some reason, he can't get that leg over the guy's back.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's just him not being able to loosen a part of his hips.
Mm-hmm.
I put him in every way. I explained it to him. I broke it down to him. He did eventually get it, but he can only get the leg like kind of over the guy's lower back, like
Okay.
right on his butt.
Yeah.
And he's not the stiffest guy in the world, and he's not really, that. I'm saying he's not the stiffest guy in the world, and he may not be the most elastic guy on the planet. But there should be no. If I can do it with the belly I got on me, it's tough in the beginning, but you have to be able to, you have to be able to figure out how it works correctly.
Yeah.
He couldn't get it on. And some people just don't move in this way. And it's hard. I never really found a really good guy who's got that wrestler, toughness and strength with the elasticity of a high-level jiu-jitsu guy, It doesn't really happen much. I don't see it. Gordon Ryan, I think he's pretty close.
Yeah, he's the jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
He's super young too. He's like 22.
Is he?
Yeah, super young.
Really?
He's mixing it up. Yeah.
He just won at Abu Dhabi.
I don't know he won, but I know he does EBI. He wins all of the competitions.
I think he came. He didn't win the absolute, but he won in his weight category.
Okay.
Somebody else won that. I don't know exactly who won.
Those jiu-jitsu competitions, I feel if they put those like on national television, they would get really popular. There's something about the day of those tournaments where you're fighting 3 times and you're following their story, going through this bracket. There's something about that really
Who's going to
makes
take?
you wanna watch.
Who's going to take the chance?
Yeah.
Who's going to take the first chance? That's
exactly.
That's what it's about, because it's all about commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to air this and nobody's willing to put the commercial on there,
then you're not making money. And
Not
there's
making
no
money.
reason for it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's how it goes. It's not like, oh, this thing is great, let's get it out there, and once people start watching, then we'll get the sponsors.
Yeah, they want it right away.
They want it
They
right
want the
away.
big views. Did you see that in EBI they could slap each other?
What do you mean?
You're allowed to slap your opponent as hard as you want with an open hand in EBI.
As hard as you want?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. There's even highlights. The girls were going at it. They would slap each other, and then I don't think they could do it in the tournaments.
You
but
could knock someone up with a
yeah,
good
there's
slap.
TKOs, and you could get someone like, let's say hypothetical, you get someone in a mounted triangle and you're not getting the choke. You could just keep slapping him, and the referee could stop it. They're trying to make
Slap,
this
slap,
exciting.
slap.
Yeah,
Upper slap.
there's combinations and everything.
Oh man.
They're trying to make it more interesting, and it
In
definitely
wrestling, people like put their hands on the head, and sometimes when they do it a little hard, just
Yeah.
to shake their opponent up,
Yeah.
and get a rise
is. Or
out
there'll
of
be
them.
like little headbutts.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
things like that. I mean, headbutts are usually unintentional
Mm-hmm.
because why would you want to hurt your own head?
Yeah, I guess.
But I don't think that's right. Slapping people.
They're trying to put some interest in it, get people to watch, because everyone wants to see someone get hit, apparently. They don't just want to see people roll around, but they're trying to cater to everyone now.
So you and me are on the same page, though.
About
There's no way.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson, I think he's going to
Right.
finish.
Kevin Lee. I mean, I understand Kevin Lee is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he's ready.
This is a big fight, so he might be like, some people perform better with the pressure, like they rise to the occasion. So that fight, I believe, with Chiesa was his first main event.
Uh-huh.
This is totally different. There's a title fight main event on a pay-per-view, but he performed well against Chiesa, and I didn't think he was gonna do well against Chiesa. I thought he was gonna get choked out and submitted. But he might be training really hard for this. He sees that it's a huge opportunity. If he wins, he's gonna fight. It's very possible that he fights McGregor. Huge paycheck at 24, 25 years old. He's gonna get that early McGregor check. So this is like huge for him.
I never looked at Chiesa as an awesome fighter.
I think at the time I thought Chiesa was gonna beat him. I don't think he's an awesome fighter either. But I thought he was gonna beat Kevin Lee.
He climbed up, the Ultimate Fighter ladder with the same thing. He just basically did the same thing.
Yeah, he gets the back in weird ways, like from standing position. He doesn't even necessarily have good takedowns.
Right.
He just gets your back from standing and drags you down.
Right.
But he got exposed against Masvidal
Right.
and other guys I think he's
Right.
lost to. And I don't like what he did against Kevin Lee. We've talked about that before. People saying it was a bad stoppage. It's like you can't go out like that, make that facial expression that he did, and not expect the ref to jump in. I don't know if he was trying to play a game with the referee or with Kevin Lee to make him loosen up the choke.
Kevin won that fight fair and square.
Yeah, I agree too.
I mean, he shouldn't even. It's an embarrassment for Chiesa to keep talking about this if he is. If he really believes in his head
He
that
said he wanted to grapple Yamasaki. Or what is his name? Not Mazagati, Yamasaki. Yeah, he said he wanted to grapple with him.
he could grapple
Like it's a
his
referee.
wife too if he wants.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, with the referee. It's like,
Grapple
what are you
with
proving?
Yamasaki. I mean, how can you compare? Even if I've seen Yamasaki at Abu Dhabi. He goes to these jiu-jitsu tournaments. I know he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I think he's a black belt.
Yeah, I think so too.
That doesn't mean that he has the endurance of a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. Why would he even
What are you
ask?
trying to prove? Like
What are
he's
you
just trying
trying
to
to
sound
prove?
like a tough guy, and it's like it comes off as bullying, but everyone's just trying to get a headline now.
Listen, he didn't tap, right?
No.
But it looked like he tapped. He was going like this.
Yeah, and then what gave it away was when he just stopped moving, and
Right.
then his face just went blank.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, the ref should shake your hand first,
Right.
but then again, you don't play that game. Like right when the fight stopped, he all of a sudden wakes up. Like, why'd you do that? It's like, why'd you make that face like you were going out? If
Yeah.
you were so alert when the fight
The
ended.
guy's just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time. Take it like a man. Even if you didn't go out, but I think he kind of did.
He might have.
He might have.
Sometimes guys, they wake up really fast and then they're like, what happened? What
Right.
happened?
Exactly.
He could have very well been going out and like slow one more second and he would have been out.
Right.
But it was that split second where he just wakes up.
Well, if Kevin Lee wins this one, he's the man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
kind
not
of
go-
like to see it too.
I'm not
I'm
going to
interested
doubt
in it.
him. I mean, he climbed because of his mouth, because of his connection to Mayweather.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that awesome with his speech.
Sometimes he is. Sometimes it's so forced.
Right,
You could tell like he's written down this line in his notebook or whatever, and it's like, I'm gonna say this at this time. But sometimes he does.
Or worse,
say,
he should have written it down because it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying too hard right
Yeah.
now.
If he's the guy who, if he just be like acts like himself,
Yeah.
and trash talks every once in a while, he could be a really big star. But he is young, so he's kind of finding himself, I guess.
In that same interview, he was talking to Woodley and saying, "Woodley, you know me." He's like, "This is who I am."
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this really who you are?
People know, I guess, behind the scenes they will.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of genius and intelligence to McGregor,
Mm-hmm.
and sorry, buddy, you're not pulling it off like that.
Yeah. Nobody is that right now.
Actually, there's one guy that's even better than McGregor.
Who?
Chael Sonnen.
Okay. Yeah, Chael Sonnen was really good at like the punchlines and everything, and he was like more WWE, where he had these promos and these speeches ready to go. But I don't know if he was necessarily better. Maybe McGregor seems better because he performs in the octagon with the trash talk. Like he has both of those things rising.
Right.
Where Chael Sonnen he was a great fighter.
He's a hit or miss sort of guy.
Yeah, he was a great fighter. Like people underrate him just because he lost to Anderson Silva and John Jones.
Right.
Doesn't mean he was a bad fighter. He was.
No,
still
he's
really
a great.
good.
I just think that he got a little. He was too old.
Yeah.
So when he came to the UFC, it was already like he was top 10, but he wasn't number one.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He was top 5, but he wasn't going to be number one.
No.
He was already up there, high 30s.
Mm-hmm. He was. Yeah. He never. I don't think he fought in UFC in his 20s.
Right.
Maybe
TRT problems. You know, he's like, I can't perform without it. You know, he was honest about it.
Yeah, he's the most honest about it.
He wasn't like, oh, I'm taking steroids. You know, he's like years of training, years of doing, you know, whatever I'm doing at this high level. I can't do it anymore at close to 40 without the TRT. You know, if you want me to compete like a young guy, I have to compete like a young guy. You know, and I understand him, but man, what an intelligent dude. When he came to speaking to that crowd,
Yeah. He knew how to get them going.
like a seasoned WWE wrestler.
Exactly. He could kill it in
Yeah.
WWE.
He could kill it
Yeah.
in WWE. He was better than McGregor, at least in that. McGregor's more like, McGregor says a lot of intelligent stuff too, which come
Absolutely.
from the heart. But McGregor's more like his accent. We just love it so much.
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah,
you
and
know?
having a country on your back.
Yeah.
Same thing with George. He had Canada. Like, let's say if these guys were born in some random state in the United States,
Right.
would they still have that popularity? They'd be popular, but I don't know if they would be as big as they are if they didn't have an entire country riding with them. You know?
Absolutely. Where's Nas to make those
GSP,
GSP and
those accents.
McGregor? I mean, that's one of the funniest things. Who the fuck is this
Yeah, I
guy?
love that.
You know, it's like that will always be the funniest thing ever.
That was a good line. He's good at. That's why McGregor
He's a
doesn't really,
one-liner.
he thinks of these stuff quick
Yeah,
because these responses you can't prepare for
it's
it.
just him.
Yeah.
It's not like it's some made up persona. It's
No.
just him. It's him shooting from his heart at all times.
Exactly.
You know? But Chael Sonnen was an act.
Yeah.
I
for
mean,
sure.
it is him. He is that intelligent. It's just it's an act.
Mm-hmm.
And
There were some
he's
guys
really
that
good
he
at it.
legitimately disliked. Like, I'm sure he does not like Vanderlei Silva at all. But the trash talk and the promos and all that
Vanderlei
stuff.
Silva's not the type of guy to be liked.
Because he takes things way too seriously.
Way too serious.
I'm sure Chael was like, trash talking is like, I'm just promoting a fight with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to make money. And then Vanderlei is so hard headed, like,
Right.
he doesn't get it. And he starts
Right.
a fight with him in the Ultimate Fighter Brazil
Right.
thing. And Chael was probably like, are you stupid? Like, I'm trying to make you money, you know?
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know what goes on backstage, but I think it's an unsaid, I'm going to say some shit. Don't
Yeah.
take it too seriously. Will you
Exactly.
let me promote the fight, you know? Let's get all egged up and stuff. Because if they say it to each other, then it's an act and it'll be fake. I think it's an unsaid thing. So if the guy is, going a little overboard, maybe it's part of his act. And Chael Sonnen is an act. And he's a really good one, too. I love the persona that he comes into, and he knows how to get, he was creating some big numbers way before McGregor came.
He was, the rematch with Silva was huge.
And he was losing more than winning.
Yeah.
I guess you could say the same thing about if McGregor tries to fight Canelo. I think I don't want to even see it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I want to see him fight in the octagon again. I want to, just as a fight fan.
I'll watch it, but I don't want to see it.
Because what is the hype with Canelo going to be? Canelo barely speaks English.
Right.
It's what is it going to be? And how do you trash talk Canelo?
With a translator?
Yeah, you ginger. What's going to happen?
Yeah, he's definitely... I don't want to see that fight, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, me neither. I want to see other things for Canelo. I want to see him box actual guys.
I think McGregor will get ruined.
I think so too, against Canelo and Triple G.
People would just
could
stop.
Fight Paulie. That's the only boxing fight that makes sense. They would go back. They would go at it with each other, the fight would somewhat be interesting because we've seen the videos and we've seen McGregor go 10 rounds with Mayweather, and we know Paulie hasn't fought in a long time. So that's the only boxing fight that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't want to see him box anymore.
I get that too. I could see him doing it one more time.
What the hell? I mean, I saw in the first round him taking Mayweather's back. He would have been dead. Mayweather would have been dead, really dead. They'd have to take him in a paramedics.
In an MMA fight.
Yeah, in an MMA fight. I don't want to see that, man. Get in there. Fight, do a title fight against one of the two of the best in the world. And I'm not calling Lee that. I'm saying Ferguson or Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
I think Nurmagomedov's kind of getting ready for that fight in Russia against McGregor.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think it's way too much of a risk. A guy like Khabib, who you don't know if he's going to make weight, you don't know if he's going to get injured. So how are you going to make Conor main event a fight in Russia? What happens if he falls off? What are they going to do? Tony versus Conor in Russia? It's money, but it's a big
money,
risk.
Baby.
It's a huge risk, though.
Big money, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, they're going to need... Because it's if he falls off, it's going to be Kevin Lee versus Conor in Russia, Tony versus Conor in Russia. The fans will still show up, but it's about Khabib.
As unsensical as it is, you want to see it, right?
It's big, yeah.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
And I like that Conor wants it in Russia, too, because I'm sure he would be excited about being in the enemy territory. People would go crazy in the crowd. They'd probably get a huge arena for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is this, Dagestan versus Ireland.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh's team versus the Eagle team. It's there was some beef with McGregor's boy.
Lobov?
Yeah.
Artem Lobov?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could fight one of those guys, I guess.
Levon's,
he's kind of both.
Levon's old opponent supposedly got shot over that sort of stuff for protecting this guy.
But Artem did an interview after the fact saying that he hopes everything is well with, I forgot his name, but Nas told me a lot about him. He's apparently really big, especially before the Levon fight. He was
Black
a huge
Tiger.
Star. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know why his name is not coming into my head, but he was undefeated until Levon beat him.
Yeah. Has he fought after that?
I don't think so.
They were supposed to do a rematch or something, but then the accident happened, I think, after the fight. So that kind of delayed things.
So, I mean, there could be some serious money made. I mean, I'm sure Russia has a stadium that fits 100,000 people or something. Some ridiculous number. The place is huge. And everything in the old Soviet Union is large. Everything is created large. It's gigantic, I'm sure they could find a venue that could really put in a lot of people, sell a lot of pay-per-views, make a really big hype.
That's kind of Conor's Rocky Balboa moment where he's training to go to Russia and fight this guy, this stoic, statuesque,
Right, yeah.
stone-faced guy.
It is. That's a
Yeah,
really
so
good
he kind of
point.
wants that. He's excited about it. He's going to fight Ivan Drago, you know?
Yeah, he's going. Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. So he
And-
wants that. It gets him excited. Like the Diaz trilogy fight makes him excited because it's 1-1 and that's the biggest
I
fight.
don't want to see that fight.
I kind of want to see it.
You.
Because I know it's a war.
What does
They went
kind
to
of
war.
want to see it mean?
I definitely want to see it.
I'd
actually.
rather see him fight Ferguson. I'd rather see him fight Nurmagomedov. I'd probably pick out a few other people out of my hat that I
For
want.
me, the top is a tie between Habib and Nate, and then it's these guys. It's Justin Gaethje. I want to see him fight Max Holloway, but I don't think he's gonna go to 145.
I want to see Max. Holloway could do
gonna have to go
55.
up. Yeah, Holloway's gonna have to go up.
Holloway could do it. He's gigantic.
He
that
could.
guy.
He could.
It wouldn't be such a problem for him.
And
And
Holloway's a guy
Holloway
who
will
deserves
do
it.
it too. I
He
think.
deserves it too because he's fighting
I don't think Holloway will
constantly.
start like a pound sort of bullshit with him.
150. I don't
He'll,
think so.
he'll
either.
no, he'll fight him at 55.
Yeah, those Hawaiians are crazy, so he will definitely.
Yeah, I guess they are crazy, but they're also beautiful. Have you ever been?
I've never been.
What a wonderful
I
people.
heard it's really calm country. Where Max is from, Waianae or something.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's really tough to grow up there. Like they're all fighters there.
You know, it's a strange sort of
Why
feeling
not, or
over there.
something?
It's so beautiful, and they're such a great people. They're so warm and they're so loving. It's just this great culture. But they feel like their land has been taken by the gringo, by the Americans, you know?
Okay. With
But
the
it-
tourists and stuff. How
It's
does
just people, you know, it's taken over. But at the same time, they don't treat Americans badly.
okay?
It's like a weird thing. They know that they're kind of like the American Indians in a sense. Well, they weren't taken over, I think, with.
I get what you're trying to say though, but they accept it. They don't fight it. You know.
They're not fighting it, but they recognize it.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
they're
they're
not
free.
dramatic people. They're calm. They realize where they're from is beautiful. So why ruin it with
They're warrior
conflict?
culture.
Yeah,
They're-
absolutely.
They've been, you know, they're awesome. It's such a great country where it has both sides. This like loving, caring, you know, beautiful society of enjoyment and plenty of food. They love food. And then there's the other side. They're tough. They're warriors. They're hardcore.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, fear is not a thing to them, you know. I guess diving off of cliffs and
Living
they're-
on an island, like,
Yeah,
just
they're-
that in general.
yeah, you know, they got their own little ghettos and things going. I think he grew up in a ghetto, Holloway.
Yeah, he did.
That I want to see.
Yeah,
But
me
I don't
too.
want to see Diaz anymore, to tell you the truth. And Diaz is not respecting the sport, if you ask me.
How so?
He's just not even fighting, man. He's just waiting for that other payday with Conor McGregor.
He makes a good point saying, like, I've been fighting forever. I fought in the UFC 25 fights. Like, I did that. Why should I still have to do it? Like, I've earned my spot, like, as the money guy. He's a big payday. So I don't need to keep doing this. Like, you guys keep doing this. But when you reach that...
Why?
that
I
spot-
think he's still a contender for the title. He did awesome against Johnson.
Yeah, he did. He's constantly looking better and better.
Yeah.
But the way
But
he
if he
explains
keeps
it,
taking
it's like-
off this long, he'll just fall off.
I think he just sees, like, I have that McGregor fight. So
He was on a great streak. He shouldn't even have fought Conor. He should have went for the title
Oh, well, why?
and created his
Yeah.
own legacy instead of working off of Conor's legacy. If
Well,
you
he
ask
kind
me.
of created his own with the win. Like, I don't necessarily...
That's what I'm saying. After the win with Conor,
He should have fought for the
he
title.
should have just asked for a title shot.
I think Conor was kind of calling the shots, though, to the point where it's like, we're not going
He
to do
just
it.
won. He shouldn't have given Conor that fight. He should have said, "I want the title
Fight
fight."
Eddie. Well, I think Eddie was a champion at the time. He
Yeah.
could have beat Eddie, too, with that reach
Yeah.
advantage.
Should have created his own legacy.
That would have been interesting to see. But now their trilogy fight would be for the title. And whoever wins that fight, if let's say that's next,
Mm-hmm.
Conor versus Nate for the title, whoever wins that is going to be the guy who the movies are made
I don't
about.
want to see that fight. I'm kind of getting sick of all these. I don't want to see that rematch. You know, let Diaz win some awesome fights. Connor's
He'd
doing
only need
his
to win
thing.
one, honestly. He just
One,
needs to
two,
come back,
whatever.
fight
Stay
one-
busy, man.
Just one time.
Stay
maybe.
busy. Look, Gilbert is his boy. He looked horrible. You know, taking off didn't do good stuff for Gilbert. You know,
Yeah, true.
anyone could fall off at any time.
And the one thing about taking off time, which isn't good, is because he's gonna have to come back at 155. So I doubt I'm sure he's staying in shape and he does the triathlons, but I'm sure he's a 170 guy right now. You know, so cutting to 155 is gonna be tough after that long layoff. He isn't the guy who gets out of shape, but it'd probably be easier for him to make 170 again. But that's not gonna happen. It's gonna be at 155. The
Yeah, Connor said 155, but I don't want to see it. Anyway, let's move on to Johnson Borg.
Yeah, this
hallelujah.
Is so under the radar, even more so.
Like
now
I said,
that it's the co-main event and it just got put on this card last second.
How often have I said it? Man can't get no respect.
No, man.
I can't get no satisfaction or respect. Man, what's up?
And his fights are good too. His last fight against Wilson Hayes was so good. The way he was like creating angles and pulling waist by his tricep to make the angle and just hit him. It's like entertaining stuff to watch. You can't say it's not entertaining. He's finishing fights. He's getting knockdowns.
Yeah.
Like people don't find interest in.
Everyone knows that he's probably the best fighter pound for pound.
I think that's what it is.
And they give him no
people
love.
Aren't surprised. Why should I be excited about this fight? I know he's gonna win. I guess that's it. Like I'm excited to see it, to see what he's gonna do.
Because he is winning like a martial artist and not like a storybook character. Now let's think Let's think WWE.
Yeah, it's
the
always
one guy
the highs
who was never beat, right? Goldberg, right?
Okay.
Every fight he comes out, he kills the guy, he does his move, blah blah.
And
he's
he never
a killer.
looks bad.
Yeah,
right?
And because he's a killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we had a guy that was coming out and just standing there going, "Come." And the guy comes and he just gives him one punch and he drops him. If there was a guy like that, everyone would love that. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, he's fighting. He's mixing it up. He's working. He's, some people say he just doesn't have the competition.
I think that's the point of it too. He has competition, but he's just on another level. Because you don't even see another guy dominating. Like number 2 and 3 are Joseph Benavidez and Henry Cejudo, I would say, and they're having trouble with their competition. They're winning. I know Henry Cejudo dominated his last fight, but when they fought, it was competitive. Like there isn't a guy dominating. Pettis' brother Sergio, he had a competitive fight with that guy from Mexico.
Right.
So it's like nobody is dominating.
Right. So I mean, I think I'd like to see Cejudo go at it again with.
Yeah, me too. I think Cejudo isn't fazed by fighting Mighty Mouse. Yeah. In his first fight, even though he got finished fast in the first round or second round, he didn't. He looked like when he was walking out and the stare down, I was like, "Holy shit, this guy isn't fazed at all." Because he's a gold medalist wrestler. He doesn't get fazed by this type of stuff, and his striking is looking really good. I don't think he's gonna fight Mighty Mouse with that McGregor-Lyoto style, but still, he has it. The boxing, he has it.
We'll see what he does, but he seemed pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, very comfortable. So he would only get more comfortable with a second fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. Will they make them fight right away, or do you think like Cejudo will have at least one more fight?
I think it depends on what Demetrius is. If he's gonna go up in the weight to 135, but if he does, I don't think he's gonna go up because 135 is pretty busy right now, and that's something else to talk about. Cody versus TJ, and then Dominic versus Jimmy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean. It was just announced this week, Jimmy Rivera, local Jersey guy.
Yeah, who took a long road to the UFC. I think he's like 22-1.
Yeah, he's on the 21 winning streak.
And he only didn't
most
get
of
into
them
the
were
UFC.
Knockouts too. And
I think it was decisions that is the reason why he didn't get into the UFC though.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he had a lot of decisions. He was putting on good fights, but it took him so long to get into the UFC, and I guess that's a good thing because now he's prepared.
Yeah, he's fighting. If he beats Dominic Cruz, and Jimmy's awesome. He's a worker, just like Cruz. He has a different footwork style. It's more. I wouldn't say traditional because TSK or TSMMA, they've applied their karate background to the MMA.
Yeah.
So
And they've
it's
done a
not
good job with it.
exactly traditional, but he can box. He can kickbox.
He has good leg kicks.
He knows his Muay Thai. He can wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
He knows his jiu-jitsu. He can do everything well. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. They're both amazing fighters. Now, when you take a guy like Cruz, who's on the down, and take a guy like Jimmy Rivera, who's on the up, Jimmy's confident. He's young. He's doing his thing. He's doing really well. Even if he loses this fight, he's fine.
Yeah, I would say that.
But
I
in
would
his
disagree
mind, I'm
with
sure he
Cruz
doesn't lose.
Being
He's
on
not.
the down, though.
This is why, because he just lost his last fight. He's always had trouble with his
His
health.
feet, his
his feet, his knees.
When
he
you hear him
needs
talk
this.
about what happened,
He
like what
needs
he's been
this.
through on the Joe Rogan podcast,
Right.
He goes into detail of like his injuries.
He's another really intelligent
It's
guy.
like, how the fuck does this guy fight? How does he walk? How does he run?
He's a really intelligent guy. I really like his insight and
Yeah.
how his perception of himself and life, and of the sport.
He's like surgical. He's like
Yeah.
a surgeon.
Yeah,
when he talks about fighting.
He has surgical thought patterns.
But
Absolutely.
he brawls too. I
Yeah.
love in the Cody Garbrandt fight. Every time he would get dropped, he would get up and during he's like standing up, he's throwing punches.
Yeah.
He's a
So this
wild
is what
guy.
I'm saying. Why he's on the down is because of his last loss. He's getting older. I'm sure some doubt may have settled in.
We're gonna get our answer in the
Right.
next fight.
So some doubt, Guy's on his way up like Jimmy Rivera, and he needs this. So there's some desperation there.
yeah.
Jimmy could take advantage of this situation. And
It's the best time.
he's
to fight.
a great kid, and he has some smart people around him too. He has a big support system. I mean, we've seen them when they go to fight, they bring 300 people
Yeah.
everywhere they go.
I remember when he fought in Jersey against Alcantara, the whole crowd was going crazy for him. He had one of the biggest pops of the night.
See, I know.
Because he has the TSK, he has Puerto Rico, which is huge in
Right.
New York. So if he headlines and fights in New York, he's gonna have huge crowds all the time.
And his base, the top fighters like Julio Arce, Shane Burgos, Lyman Good. I mean, the people in his corner. I mean, there's some amazing guys. Not just physically and their martial arts. Yes, but they're really good guys, respectable, disciplined. And they're all there to build each other up. It's a great.
That's what, because they all came up at a young age in Tiger Schulman's.
Yes.
All those guys. You never hear about a guy leaving Greg Jackson's to go train at Tiger Schulman's.
No.
Maybe they'll go spar with the guys, but Tiger Schulman's guys came up with Tiger Schulman's
And
when
you
they were
won't
like
hear
5.
vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Like Uriah Hall was one guy. The whole altercation, I don't even know what to call it. The whole controversy of him leaving Tiger Schulman's, I'm not too familiar with it. He kind of talks about it a little bit, but you could tell he still has respect for Tiger Schulman's, so he doesn't want to straight up talk shit about them.
Right.
But there
I
was
have
some
some
drama.
insight on that
There
too.
was some drama while he left. Not really?
No real drama. He
Okay.
just saw a good leader in Chael Sonnen, and why not? I mean, when Chael did that show, when I was watching that show, I think he may have been one of the greatest
Yeah.
minds when it came to coaching. The things that he would make people do, like putting a 2x4 on the floor, making them walk on it, and
Yeah.
then putting
I told that to Nas too about.
and then telling them, what if I put it on the ladder? Could you
Doesn't
do the same
change
thing? It doesn't
It's
change.
all in your mind,
It's just
though.
all in your mind. Things like that. I mean, the guy may have, but from what I understand, he was a pretty big bully himself.
Who? Uriah? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting because he's like.
Because
the
his
guy
story is about anti-bullying.
He's
he's a
just
bully.
emotional. He's kind of I guess he's sensitive, not in a bad way,
Right.
because a lot of fighters are sensitive. Like, I guess it just comes from they're in a tough sport, Like,
No, I don't know. From what I understand, he never wanted to, not never, but he would prefer taking the weaker, smaller guy and messing him up
okay,
than, training with the guy who's tough.
And he's a guy who has those sparring knockout videos, which you don't like to see.
Listen, a guy like him, and listen, TSK, if you look at all their guys, right? If you look at their records, their amateur records are like 20 fights. They don't bring these guys up quickly like you see other gyms. You know, they're like, oh, my guy's awesome. Let's get him in there. And then they get beat up. These guys raise their guys really intelligently, you know? They get them ready. Before they even start their MMA career, they may have already had, you know, a Golden Gloves career and a...
Naga competing in jiu-jitsu.
That, yes. But I'm saying even kickboxing, Muay Thai career, before they even get into MMA, you know? So these guys are well-groomed. You know, these guys at TSK, they don't do anything, you know, from their ball sack, you know? A lot of gyms do it from their ball sack. You know, they want to be seen. My guy's awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome. Get him out there. Come on. And boom, he gets knocked out. That's not how it works, you know? You got to raise. Some guys are really awesome. You got to know who they are. So when you put him against the right people, you see that he's going through them, and then you could keep building him and keep building him. But some guys need to be built. And I said this before. I think you've heard me say it. UFC destroys more careers than it builds.
There are a lot of cases because they get excited, like, oh, here's this guy, let's put him in UFC, like Sage or like Paige.
Some guys,
Paige Van Zandt rose so quickly, she's gonna get destroyed.
Some guys need to be built up, you know. It doesn't say that they're any worse or better than anyone. Just some guys need to be built up. Once they get built up properly, then they can come into their own, you know. Everyone has a different mind, different perception, different mental abilities. Some guy could be tough, but he may not be the best guy for the camera.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to get him comfortable with the camera. You got to get him comfortable with the exposure, and then he can truly come out. But they sometimes throw these guys because some other people won't fight them, and, you know, they ruin more careers. They get rid of them, and these guys are pretty awesome.
And you never know what they could have been.
You never know. Yeah.
If Sage had more fights outside the UFC and built himself, he could have been huge, you know.
All right.
Like even
that's why I'm looking forward to that Gall fight.
Oh, with to see if he improves against Randy Brown, right?
Randy Brown's a real fighter.
Yeah. So,
I don't know if Gall is. I have my doubts with Gall.
I
think he's
seems
another.
Like he's good. Like he's talked about how for this camp he stayed away from social media promoting. He's. Just
I understand he's good, but I don't know if he's as good as Randy Brown. Randy Brown has some growing to do too.
Yeah,
you know,
he has wins and losses in the UFC.
No, I think he just has one loss.
Okay, yeah, you might be right. He hasn't fought that much.
Yeah, he's a great kid, great guy, awesome, really dedicated. I mean, great camp too. The people around him are awesome.
He's a Northeast guy too, right? Isn't he? Or is he just from here?
Well, I don't know his background, but I'm saying the people around him from his gym, and then they're friends with Belmore kickboxing. Okay. So Keith Tremble helps him a lot. Keith is an awesome guy. You know, he's got a good support system too. I mean, great. I love Keith. He's one of the greatest guys out there. You know, Randy's going to be great one day. I just don't know if Gall is that same guy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe Randy isn't top 10 material right now, you know, or top 5. But he'll get there. I have no doubt that he will. I don't know if Gall is ready for a guy like Randy. I could be wrong, but I could be right. So, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win?
I think DJ is going to submit him.
DJ's going to submit?
Yeah. He always beats him up in the standing, and then he eventually submits him. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think Ray Borg is going to have a lot of trouble with the gas tank in this. A lot. Since he's a big 125er.
Yeah, of course, Johnson. I'm not
doubting
Johnson. Not doubting Johnson whatsoever. I don't think it's time to doubt Johnson at all.
Not yet. He hasn't slowed down at all.
No.
You know, like other guys, I think the reason why other top pound for pound guys like John Jones and George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva
Right.
are exciting to watch because they've looked bad at moments. Like John Jones has the Gustafsson fight. Anderson Silva had a lot of fights where he was getting beat up and then comes back. And George St. Pierre got beat up, but this guy doesn't get beat up.
No.
So he doesn't have that storybook career where he's getting beat up and then he comes back. He's just dominating.
Yeah.
Which good for him. Like, why should we complain? Like, he doesn't give a shit.
And maybe-
He's making money.
I don't know. Maybe that's why, because I don't think Borg is ready for this guy right now.
No, I don't think so either. And it's tough for these guys coming up because how do you build them up? There's no one even close to him. So
Well, I think we both definitely agree on Johnson and Borg. So let's move on to Verdum and Lewis. What do you think? I mean,
it's an interesting fight because
it's pretty simple to me.
it's like a heart and then mind. Because I actually want Derek Lewis to win. I'm a big fan, but his ground game, I don't know how he's gonna do against Verdum.
That's what I was talking about, you know? Like, this is the guy, he came in, I'm like, whoa, he looks like a monster. What if he's this dude that just knocks people out crazy? And he did.
Yeah,
and I was
did.
like, oh, and then he does it again, and then boom. Then we see that, you know, he's got some flaws in him,
Yeah.
you know? So that's the problem. You
I
know?
like how his like takedown defense, like Brian Stan will say it. Whenever he's on the ground, his defense is just standing up. He'll legit have a guy on top of him, and then he just decides to stand up, and the guy isn't gonna stop him. from doing
Verdum
it.
is so experienced, man.
Yeah, he's gonna.
On the ground.
If he loses this fight, it's because of his mistake. If he stands up with Derek Lewis for whatever reason, but he could easily just.
He could do a
Be
good
smart.
job standing with Derek Lewis.
a
Derek
bit.
Lewis is a swinger.
Yeah, he swings his hammers.
Verdum, you have to live a lifetime to get that ground experience that Verdum has, you know, at the level that he has it. And his stand-up is pretty damn good, too. So,
With King's MMA, yeah.
Yeah.
They took a lot of those jiu-jitsu guys
Yeah.
and made them like monster strikers. Like Rafael Dos Anjos
Yeah.
turned into this Muay Thai
He's
killer. And same thing with Verdum.
the coach over there is the guy who created these Vanderlei Silvas and
Yeah.
Shoguns and all these guys. And
Exactly.
even Anderson Silva.
For a bit, I
They
believe
were
so.
no, in the beginning of their career, he was the guy. He's the guy who
His
made.
name is Rafael Cordero, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows his Muay Thai, and he knows his Muay Thai when it's applied to MMA. You know, he raised a lot of great. I think Dos Anjos is not with them anymore.
I think he goes around.
He goes around.
Yeah. I think he is still with them.
Right.
He'll have them in his corner.
Right.
I don't remember his corner from the Neil Magny fight, but I think he has like 2 camps, 2 gyms he goes
Right.
to.
It seemed like he's not with them anymore, but still, I mean, the guy has a wealth of knowledge that could be properly applied to MMA. Yeah. To me, if I were betting, I would bet on Ferguson, Johnson, and Verdum, and I'd win.
I think those are all favorites too.
Of course.
So like a parlay.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't make much money, but
Yeah.
I'd win. I think it's a pretty simple decision. Yeah, I mean, listen, we spoke a lot today, especially on Ferguson Lee fight. You know, let's talk about some other things that are going on. Let's say outside of
the UFC and martial arts. in
yeah,
general.
yeah. It doesn't have to be. It could be about any other thing. But did you happen to have you been paying attention to? Was it Pitbull versus?
The last Bellator card.
Yeah,
Yeah, that fight was interesting because Ben Henderson is always in those type of fights, those close split decisions. Could have gone either way, but this time it didn't go his way. Usually it does end up. This time it didn't.
it didn't go his
He has
way.
an interesting career. I just think that he fights the same. You know, he's fought the same as the last how many
I wonder
fights.
what his missing king, what is it? Chink in his chain
Chink in his armor.
armor, right?
I just think people caught up to him. Because he's really good, but he's had that style since he won the
he's
title.
more awesome than something's blocking him.
It could be something we don't know about in his personal life. It could be something with his training.
Something with his. I think it's probably got to be mental because the guy's hands are like lightning. You know, his kicks are like fucking thunder. You know,
He's a smart guy too. He usually has a good game plan.
he's really intelligent. He's a great guy. His wrestling is on game. Is on point. I don't know why. He should have a much more powerful win streak.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with him because I think Henderson is awesome, man. I love him. I think he's a perfect fighter. I just don't know why he doesn't put it together perfectly.
Something
all
I've
the
noticed
time.
with him is like he kind of telegraphs. He usually has these big movements where he throws like 2 punches and they're like big. Like he telegraphs everything. That's what I see with him. Like he usually just does something before he attacks you. And it's like not, I don't know. I just see him doing that constantly and guys are just noticing that and they're taking advantage of it.
And Pitbull is from Bellator. He's been on top for a while.
Both of them. The younger one more so, but the older one has really good wins. He knocked out Josh Thompson,
Right.
so he's legit too.
He is legit. And a guy like him, you know, he's been kicking some ass for a long time.
Yeah.
It's funny that these guys don't go to UFC. I guess their contracts are so tight.
Yeah.
With Bellator?
With them, it seems so.
I thought Bellator was climbing. There was a point where they were climbing high. And they have another great guy, Venom.
Yeah, MVP.
Yeah.
He kind of blew up because of social media, his YouTube, his highlights
Yeah.
and stuff.
But he has losses too. He doesn't.
I don't know if he has losses in Bellator, but he has bad performances
Right.
where he ran away, he kind of circled away, didn't do anything. And
Right.
then he has that flying knee highlight KO.
Right.
So it's
He has
on and off
many,
with him.
you know, like highlight KOs.
He has highlight submissions too. I think he has like a toe hold where he's like he has the toe hold and he's like sticking his tongue out to the guy he's submitting.
Yeah.
He does wild stuff like that. They want to do him versus Paul Daly, which
Okay.
I don't know how that fight goes because Paul Daly is more experienced with the martial arts and everything, MMA fighting, but I don't know. I could see MVP pulling that one out as well.
I think these organizations got to break down the walls sometimes,
How so?
and you know, take their best and put it against the UFC's best.
Okay. There was a time where
I don't think-
Pitbull versus Aldo was like the fight to make.
Right.
And
I
I
don't
wanna see
think that it's in UFC's best interest to do so, but it is in Bellator's best interest to do
Yeah.
so. But I think sort of like we have WBO, WBC in boxing,
Yeah.
where
Unifying titles and
yeah,
stuff.
unifying titles. I think things like that should happen. I think
That'd
it's
be
time for things like that to happen.
I don't see it happening anytime soon, but maybe in the future if Bellator does get big,
Right.
then that could happen. But Bellator would have to get really
There are some
popular.
great guys that are swallowed up by contracts.
Like they're stuck in Bellator, you're saying?
Or
Like,
forget about just Bellator. There's other organizations out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are a lot of organizations which are good organizations. Like, you know, you got CFFC.
Yeah.
You know, Ring of Combat. They have some guys that are awesome guys, but they're not all. You know, like Rivera came from CFFC. You know, Weidman came from Ring of Combat. You know, so you got some really good guys coming out, and they were ready from the get-go, getting out of there to go to the UFC. But these organizations, they know they're regional organizations, they're national organizations, and they're totally fine with sending their top guys to the big show. They're not trying
they're
to
like feeders.
yeah,
feeder
they're not trying to compete. But you got some shows out there like One and Bellator, Fight Nights from Russia.
Yeah.
You know, they got some. They're competing. They want to compete.
WSOF, or now it's like professional
Yeah,
fight
exactly.
league, whatever it
They're-
is.
Well, you know, it seems like a lot of guys want to leave WSOF too. You know, one of them came,
Yeah.
right?
Because apparently there's like their business is really wonky, and like the way they do their contracts, the way they pay,
Yeah.
it's like they're putting in more money than they're making. So it's like they're investing a lot. They're not making smart decisions. This is like what I hear.
The most companies do that.
Yeah, but
As a
they're
start.
doing it like really weird.
It's easier to spend other people's money than your own.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Definitely.
most people who get these not loans but investors, they spend their money. You know, they're like, oh, we got to promote, we got to do this, we got to get the best fighters we can, this and that. They're paying, and sometimes you have to lose some money, like Amazon did, before you start winning some money. But then there's cases like Uber where they've never made a dollar. You know, they just loss, and you know, it's about to like implode on itself soon. So, I think there should be some sort of unification. You know, take the top 5 best organizations out there, you know, and create an official, you know, UFC, Bellator.
At least have like number 2 and 3. Like, I don't see the UFC getting into a partnership with any other organization, but at least
Or at least 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly.
Yeah,
like,
that's a
let's
good
have
idea
Bellator
too.
versus ONE FC, let's say.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
And
I
they
think
would
another
prosper.
organization has done that. I think RFA did something with Legacy.
I think it's the same organization because if you look at their let's say, what do you call it? Their cage, their light setup. It seems like it's the same people doing it.
So it was already like a partnership from the
There
beginning.
were
maybe.
already some sort of partnership.
But that was like a promotional thing, like
Right.
LFA versus
If
RFA.
these promotions do it and they get together and they reach out to each other and they do some sort of thing, then you know what? They could jump ahead of the UFC in that sense.
It could get close, definitely. It would cause a lot of like
It would be global now
promotion, yeah.
because you got an American, you got a Asian, you got a Russian. I mean, what is Russia considered? Continent. What continent is Russia?
Eurasia.
That's
Europe
a good
and Asia.
question. If I guess me and Sarah Palin don't know
Where Russia is.
continents well, but is it
Europe
Eurasia?
and
I don't
Asia.
think
It's part of it is, I think, much larger part of it is in Europe, and then a part of it is in Asia because
Right.
it's such a huge country.
And then
it
you
has-
could get something from Europe. I'm sure there's an awesome organization in Europe too.
Mhm.
That's
Cage Warriors, where
Is
they
it
get
European?
the guys. They get the guys from England, Ireland,
Yeah.
all those countries. Yeah.
there you go. So
Cage Warriors is where Bisping, Dan Hardy, Connor came from.
okay,
So
there
yeah,
you go.
That's a big.
But when I
organization.
see these videos of these guys fighting, these shows don't look well lit and well organized. So maybe they could use a little boost. There should be some sort of unification, and these guys should be fighting. And just like Conor McGregor fought in boxing, why can't a guy like Conor McGregor or Tyrone Woodley or any of our champs go and fight and unify belts?
Mhm.
You know?
to fight like the Bellator champion.
Yeah. There's money
People
to
wanna
be
see
made.
it,
There's
'cause-
money
but
to be made.
It's just tough to have them agree and come to terms with each other, like how. Because why would the UFC want to help the competition
They
for
wouldn't.
one night of payday? But because a lot of their guys might lose. That's the thing. I think that's what the UFC might be scared of a little bit. Like, let's say Rory McDonald wins the title, beats Lima.
Mm-hmm.
I think he whoops Woodley's ass.
Think so?
And then the UFC looks bad. And then Michael Chandler versus Connor. I know Michael Chandler isn't champion, but I still consider him because.
But
he
look
got
how
injured.
many of the Strike Force guys were.
They killed it when they came.
Yeah,
right. They were all the champion.
Yeah.
DC, Luke,
Right.
Musasi came and killed it.
Yeah. A lot of these guys
Woodley,
came and
Woodley
killed.
himself. Woodley
Right.
was Strikeforce. Lightweight, Gilbert Melendez came in and almost beat Bennett.
UFC doesn't have the best fighters all the time.
No, it's all about matchups, really.
Yeah, it is. And I want to see the best go at it, you know?
Yeah, that's what everyone wants, really. But it's a money game.
And I think there could be more money if they do something like this, if they kind of take some sort of framework from boxing and put it together. But I think right now these organizations are pocketing more money than they're paying the
The fighters?
fighters.
Yeah, I think so, too. I can't imagine the percentage of how much the UFC makes from an event and how much money goes to the fighters.
Right.
But they say it's like 50%. but I doubt that. Highly doubt that.
Whatever it is, how is boxing making more money than them? Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How is it? Their stadiums are just as packed.
Yeah.
I guess more pay-per-view
The
buys.
owners like Dana White is making millions. Lorenzo the Fertittas are billionaires.
Right.
All the money's going to the top guys.
Right. Those things should be changed. But it would take a mass unification where every fighter would be like, I'm not fighting. You can
Yeah,
put
it
on your
would.
shows. And then nobody would watch
And it
their
would take
show.
the top guys. It would take Connor
Right.
joining them. It would take John Jones. And I think they would. I like when George started that MMA association, but that was a little too late. That was after his after he retired. But if he started that when he was the title holder and that's top, and he went on the mic and he's like, we need to get unified, that probably could have started something.
Right.
But he did it maybe a year or 2 years after he retired.
Right.
So it was kind of like, and do you even hear about that organization, that association anymore? The MMAA or whatever it was?
No.
It's nothing now.
It's gone.
Yeah. Bjorn Rebney was part of it. Like, it's literally...
There were some big names in there.
Yeah, Cerrone was in it.
Yeah. What happened?
Who knows?
I want to know what happened. We gotta do some investigation on that.
Well, look it up. Might as well.
No, not right now, but when we're
But
better
We
prepared,
could have
we'll
a
do it.
discussion about it
Yeah.
next week.
What happened? Did these guys get paid off?
Maybe it wasn't planned out already, because I think Cerrone kind of got the call, like, hey, come with us, take a few pictures with us, but he didn't know what
I
was
wonder
going on.
what Woodley meant by saying, if Dana White doesn't apologize to me, I'm going to reveal some shit.
Yeah, I
What the
wonder
hell
what
does
that
that
means.
mean? Do you get
Who
what I'm
knows?
saying?
I'm sure
What
there
is
is some
going
stuff to
on there?
reveal.
What is going on?
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know.
everyone does. I guess that was smart of him to put it out there, but it's a weird time.
It is a weird time. And I guess time has always been weird, and it just keeps getting weirder.
Yeah.
Listen, we're in the time of corporation might.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's corporation, everything. Do you even think about going to a small pharmacy? Everything's CVS, Dwayne Reed, or whatever, right? And look, I just promoted them
Exactly.
indirectly because that's all we know now.
Mm-hmm.
Before the pharmacy was like some small store that someone owned.
And people think everything is UFC too. There are people out there that think,
Yeah.
if you're a fighter, oh, you're in the UFC, like.
So what do you do? MMA. What is that? UFC?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? UFC is an organization.
Yeah.
It's a promotion company. They're doing MMA. And the people don't know the difference. A little more education. A lot of people don't care. Human cockfighting. That's what they call it.
That's like the square root of it all.
Yeah.
That people think what it is.
Yeah, but listen, I say fighting is an honest sport. Why? Because two people get in there, and the better guy that day wins.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be more skilled to win. It's just that day, if you're better, if you could be losing the fight and you could come back and win it. That's the beauty of it, and the promotion should also mirror that honesty of a fight.
Yeah.
And like I always say, these damn judges, man, they should be shot.
It's boxing judges. That's the thing that's so unfortunate.
Not that they
about it.
really should be shot, but I feel like so disgusted with these judges sometimes.
Sometimes it's all about who's judging your fight.
Yeah.
It's not about who's better. It's about what commission there is.
Every
The
commission
opinion
should
of 3 people. It's like crazy.
every commission should contact local gyms that they trust, like every local gym, and see who from that gym, will come and be a judge.
Yeah. It's tough because everyone has an opinion. Everyone has their biases. It's like you
Right.
can't have a robot go in there and judge.
Right.
Because we're all human. You can't.
Someone
take
who
that away.
understands MMA won't always have a similar opinion, but at least it'll be closer than some of these judges. Are
Yeah.
like, oh, have you ever done it? No, I'm a wrestler. The fuck do you know about MMA?
Yeah.
What the
It's
hell?
like there are those close decisions that aren't robberies that you could tell why it was split. But
You could
then
tell,
the
yeah.
obvious ones where it's like, how the hell did that happen?
I think that could be a little more refined too if you have better judging, and if you have that, like I said, 4 camera or 3 camera
And
view
put them in a
system.
room. Why do they need to be in the arena?
Yeah, why
Like,
do they
why?
need to be in?
Looking around. Sometimes you see them like going out of their way to
Yeah.
get a better view. It's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
is there even an answer to it? Why should they be in there?
No, put them in a nice room, quiet.
Yeah.
Where they
Have them
can-
have a nice notepad to like, I don't know what they want to do. Like,
Right.
just go over the fight.
And I think there should be like an extra referee computer that counts punches.
That's tough because so many of the punches are like close. I remember there's this GIF on some website where you know how it shows you the total punches landed
Right.
on the live,
Yeah.
and then it was during Triple G and Canelo, and one of them threw 2 punches and they clearly land on the glove, but you see on the bottom of the screen the number going up, strikes landed, and it obviously landed on the glove.
Strikes landed is strikes land, but strikes.
Blocked.
Oh no. Okay, wait a second. I see. I see
Strike-
what
it
you're
was
saying.
it
Strikes
was putting up
thrown
strikes
is what I
landed.
meant. Strikes landed means
Yeah.
they hit their
It
target.
was raising the strikes landed act like
I understand.
statistic.
I understand. Yeah, that's computer error right there. You know, but I'm thinking with the emergence of AI, maybe I'm sure if AI can recognize pictures now and so many different things, it can recognize better than
Contact.
a human eye if a glove or fist hit the target or if it just hit the arm.
It's the only thing about it is if we have that technology, do the people behind it really give a shit about MMA fighting and want to put it into that? Like, there's
Well,
probably bigger things to do. With
Seems
that
like they do. I mean, you almost see Dana White, you know, his head, like, looks like that guy from, I have kids, so have you ever seen Inside Out?
No. I haven't.
Anger. Anger is like
Oh,
a
like yeah.
character.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He
The
blows his
animated
head
thing?
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
He blows his head off. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what Dana White looks like sometimes. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff with the gloves.
These judges are fucking stupid.
Yeah. Disgusting.
I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. You know, he says all these stuff, but you know what? Make a change. You
I'm sure
have the
he
power.
He acts like he doesn't. Like, I'm not a commission, but he definitely does have some pull, some say.
Yeah. I want to see some changes. Anyway, AI.
Yeah.
I'm going to get someone on here
That's gonna be interesting.
about artificial intelligence. You don't even know what's going on in the world right now.
I don't know what's going on with it. I know what it is and the possibilities, but I don't know what we have already. And I know there's stuff that we have that isn't even public yet,
Well,
and it's only being used for like
a
serious
lot of things.
reasons.
I think it is pretty public. I think
it's
it
just
is.
not like being used recreationally.
Maybe the stuff that
Yes.
the military's using is not public, but
Yeah.
Google and IBM, Microsoft. Excuse me. They're showing everything that happens every week. You know, DeepMind just learned how to walk today. You know, boom, DeepMind beats the #1 Go player in the world. Watson beats someone at Jeopardy. You know,
They tried that, I remember.
They
and
won-
there's
they
another
won.
app that it's on the new iPhone, I think, that you can measure. Like, let's say I want to find out the width and height of this TV, that you can just take a picture of it and it'll know. It'll tell you.
it will know.
And you can measure it with the phone. You can move the phone as well, even move back and forward, and it'll
My
come
new
up with a
iPhone
rule.
update, right? I don't know if you, but you don't have an iPhone.
No, Android. I hear that all the time.
Anyway,
Same thing.
now I could take the phone and press copy, and what it does, it scans it. You know how it scans the like credit card?
Oh yeah. Like
Now it
like
scans it
a check
edge
and
to
stuff like
edge,
that?
and once you find the right level, then it takes a picture, cuts off all the edges, and you get a perfect copy now.
That's like
So
a
it doesn't
check,
look
right?
like some stupid hand.
Yeah.
You know, it makes a perfect copy. You want to see what it looks like?
All right, let's see.
Look, it's crazy. I mean, I made this design not too long. I mean, a long time ago, actually. And I said, you know what? Let me check it out. I want to save this design. And look, it looks just like a photocopy.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And you could like print that out and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's just like a photocopy. You click on it, and there it goes. It looks like a real photocopy now.
Yeah.
So that's done by your phone. iPhones, Apple's new software update. A lot of changes, a lot of crazy things that people don't even know about. Actually, we're going to do a video on Apple.
We could, yeah. Different technology, stuff like that.
Yeah. Great show.
Yeah,
All
it was.
It was actually pretty calm
Yeah.
and intuitive. We went really deep. You're a
Exactly.
deep thinker.
Only 3 fights we talked about, but we went off for an hour and plus.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this card, and next week
I
we'll
am
see who
too.
we have.
I am too. All right, so guys, we'll see you next week. Boom.
Peace out. Next.
Wait a second. Next week we're gonna have the results of this card, right?
Yeah. So we'll go over this.
Yeah, but there's not gonna be any in-your-face moments, though, huh? Because I think
Yeah,
we all
we're
agree.
the same. I'll go Derek Lewis.
You go with Derek
Yeah,
Lewis
I'll go
in
Derek
your
Lewis.
face.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll
All
take
right.
that risk.
You like
I
him,
think
huh?
he could. Yeah.
Yeah,
think he
I
could.
mean, I kind of like him too, like in this way, like
It's heavyweights.
I
so
wanted
everything
him
could
to be
happen.
like this menacing dude that was killing everyone,
Yeah.
you know? And, you know, you're scared of him, you have nightmares
Mm-hmm.
about, but he's not that guy.
So I'm picking Lewis.
Yes, wait a second. Anybody else? Wait a second. I think,
Dariush is a pretty good fight. That's a good fight. Dariush versus Dunham.
I don't know. It's like I've heard this guy's name so many times. I've seen his fights, and I don't know. I just don't love the guy yet. Don't know why.
He has good wins, but some losses
Right.
against Barboza and Chiesa. He
Yeah,
lost.
I don't know. I just don't love the guy. I don't know. He's just like lackluster for me. You know, it may not even be him. It could be me just, you know,
I get what
not
you're
really
saying.
caring
Yeah,
enough.
I get what you're saying. The
You know,
fights that he's been in.
I'm not one of those guys who pays attention to every fighter. I know a lot of fighters, so I pay attention to those guys who are on undercards, but I don't pay attention to every fighter, you know? I don't want to give them my research until
They do something.
they do something, you know? Like when I saw Taisumov, his first fight, right? I loved the guy right from the beginning.
Yeah.
He was special. I knew he was special. And look, today he's undefeated, 8 fights? I think he
believe.
knocked everyone out.
I think he has one loss in the UFC, but
Does
it was,
he?
He has a loss against some Brazilian, but it was like a weird fight.
Really?
Yeah, it
You
was.
sure?
I think Taisumov.
Yeah.
He has a split decision loss against some Brazilian guy.
Really?
And then after that fight is when he went on the KO streak.
Okay. All right. So there's something special about certain people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I even saw it in Nurmagomedov, you know? You know, obviously that hat helped.
Yeah, he
But
had the
there's some
personality,
people-
the trash talk.
Yeah. And he's himself, you know?
Yeah.
This number one bullshit. This is beautiful,
He
you know?
speaks his mind. It's not
Exactly, it's
forced.
him. I don't know. Whatever. Dariush. Let's see. Maybe he might be one of my favorites sometime in the future. Listen, next week we're gonna get rolling again. Episode 7 for next week. We're gonna have a special guest.
Yeah, well, I think so.
I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna say what
No
till it's
promises.
confirmed. You know, lots of times scheduling and things don't work. Since this isn't our number one job, we do it at a certain time every week. So it's a time that is good for our schedule. But people who do this as their job, they can schedule off hours. You know, instead of doing it every Monday, they can do it on a Wednesday because
Yeah.
the person that's coming in, you know, can only do that day. We don't have that luxury yet. One day we'll get there, hopefully. And
We got to get Nas to figure out how to work the computer so he could come in on a Wednesday.
yes, I think we should put Nas back there,
We should.
and he can look at his pictures.
Yeah, he could go on his phone and everything.
Yeah, you know, he just looks at himself and says, "Oh, that's a nice muscle."
Pull it up on the computer in the middle of a conversation.
He's like, you guys are horrible. How could you talk like that about me?
But we'll be here definitely next week.
All right, next week, guys.
Same crew with some guests.
Booyah.
Peace out.